It's interesting, that phrase of treat others the way you want to be treated, and how simply we can forsake that because of the fact that maybe the way that you laugh at someone else's pain is because you laughed at your own pain. I was in the sauna this morning after working out, and it was this conversation that this girl was having with this guy, and like, I don't know, it just made me laugh because it reminded me of me. Really, it reminded me of me. So once again, video log, okay? I am logging in video form my own expression, my own experience in this life, so I'm not trying to tell you what to do or what works best for you or that I know all. I have a very strong, I would even say, affinity to masculines. And I definitely feel that, like, growing up, I don't really want to say tomboy, but you can call it what you want. I do feel that, like, there have been many times where I've noticed and noted masculine pain, not because I know exactly what it feels like, but because some part of me does. And I've told you guys in my past videos, like, I look into past lives, I read cards for people, I practice divination and things like that. So if you're here for that shit, then welcome. If you're new, and if you're coming back to my stuff, welcome back. It's nice to see you. Yeah, I just thought it was so, like, a part of me was like, damn, like, why are you laughing at the fact that he is feeling pain about something that's hard to let go of? And then it made me realize how I've done that. And my perspective, right, my own perspective of feminines is that we're so sensitive, but at the same time, we can easily desensitize ourselves because of how sensitive we are. And we notice things, we notice the body cues, the way that someone looks at you, really looking into the windows of the soul. And I just really wanted to plant the seed here that I genuinely am not a misandrist, even though I can't fully say that I would identify as like a feminist. It truly is just like the balance thing. And I was saying this in my last video, like, the balance game is so interesting when you're spiritual, because it is hand in hand, like, whether you're willing to make moves and whether you're also willing to bring yourself to that frequency and maintain the frequency that is your manifestations, the things that you desire, the way that you want to build it, the intentionality, the focus, when you start to hone in on the things that matter to you, the way that you dance, the way that you flow. And it's interesting because I've felt this for many, many experiences where I've changed direction. And a part of me wants to resist the fact that I don't know what's going to happen. So, of course, the fear starts to be incited. And it's, once again, the balance game, because it's like, do I want to deliberately entice fear within me? No, obviously. What the fuck? And so that's why it's like taking one step forward, but going 5 steps deep. And that is something I've been practicing and reminding myself to practice, especially when it comes to making such a drastic change in my life that I'm not necessarily sharing with the people closest to me and in my vicinity, because this is one of those things where it really doesn't matter what other people say. This is the intentionality that I'm willing to have when it comes to the own direction that I'm going to pave for my own life. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. And so that's why I do believe that masculines are capable of being intuitive. It just comes in different forms. And I'm, once again, not saying that I would know, because I'm not someone who identifies with the masculine entity, nor embodies it all the time. I feel that this is where the consistency comes in. It's like when you get those new thoughts and you kind of build on those thoughts and you see how they sustain and the way that you sustain it and how it affects you. And then when you move forward, you kind of like make that judgment. Okay, this isn't really working. It's mitigating, right? And that can be like described as the masculine energy, but the feminine force is truly something that is rooted within me because I identify and align with the feminine energy and the feminine body. And so hand in hand, I feel that that really showed me how I can be more compassionate to others. That phrase, treat others the way you want to be treated. But more so, don't judge people's experiences based off of your own solely because of your own level of understanding of self. Therefore, opening yourself up to someone else struggling, to someone else propelling and exponentially growing, right? Like, that's where I feel like the balance thing comes in, because let's just say someone's processing a form of pain that you kind of can resonate with, but then they get over it so well, they move forward with so much grace that maybe even it in inside some jealousy, and you're like comparing yourself to them. So that's why the balance thing is important, because let's just say on the reversal is someone who's really struggling with something that, like, you understand you struggled with as much as you also moved through it and you lived through it, and now you're here and it's healed enough for you to say that you're letting it go, or you've let it go, and having that patience to let someone go through their own process. And so that's where I find myself even addressing my own directions in my life, like the things that I'm focusing on, the way that I'm focusing on it, and the things that honestly that just keep coming up in my egoic mind, and how I'm responding to it. Because I honestly, such a good example is when it comes to the way that I notice someone, especially being a Scorpio, there's certain stereotypes that I wish I wasn't, but it's true. And that's why it's kind of like validating, you know, like it's validating myself and acknowledging, like, oh, I have these things that I value. I have these things that I notice. I have these things that maybe, I would just say notice. And sometimes I scoff at it. I'm like, oh my God, I see their car. And I just kind of like laugh at that. And then at the same time, I'm like, do I really want to interact with this person? Like, is that, you know, like I ask the question, and I don't say that question just to like pry to find an answer. I bring up inquiry to kind of expand the way that I see it. And now that when I see a car, and it's like funny because I don't even actually see their car, I just see a car that looks like their car, and it's like, nice, good vibes to you, because that kind of makes me happy. And it's acceptance. I feel like that is such a big part of it, is acceptance. And I do like wish to intentionalize that a little bit more, especially as I'm talking about it in this video, is to move forward and be compassionate to people. Because like even today I was struggling with getting my dog food for my dog. Getting the dog food for my dog was like funny because I couldn't find the actual brand, and so I was like searching and I was like moving each one, and then this guy came up and he was like, do you need some help? And I was like, oh, I'm okay, thank you. And it's like those kinds of things, like really just, I love it. I love when it's like that, and I want to continue to cultivate that. Sometimes though, there are moments where I don't want to provide help for people because I need that help, right? And I don't say that because like, oh, like my problems are greater than others. No, it's that I need to focus on myself so that I can be like receptive to other people. That's how I want to put it. And so kind of like not being so stubborn on what exactly I am, to me even, is also such an integrative part of being open to other people's perspectives, but not being directed by their own perceptions of how they address things or how they go about things. And that's why I always say my disclaimer, because, or I try to at least, is because of the fact that I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what kind of conditionings you've gone through, or what you've unconditioned yourself from, what you're moving away towards, or moving away from and moving towards. And that's why it's important to, like, for me at least, I feel that it's so imperative that I'm willing to see other people clearly. And one of the biggest things that I've honestly made it so hard for myself is to like someone, like even when they don't like me. And it's because, you know, like when you try to sacrifice yourself to prove something to another person, when in reality you've already proved to yourself that you care, and that you want to include them in your life in some form or shape. And it's just about consent, you know, and it's being willing to take that step back so that I can, one, go even deeper within myself and see exactly what it is that I'm asking for from another person, when in reality I'm not really giving it to myself. And I say this in every video, it always comes back to the self, because I do truly believe that when you heal yourself, you're healing others, because you can't heal others without healing yourself. And it's not because I'm the one who makes those choices for another person, but you can lead by example, and that inspires others. And so I remember so clearly when just my reality shifted and I just changed. And I literally got confirmation for that, right? Confirmation, not acknowledgement or validation, but confirmation through this channel, that they're like, some people who commented, they're like, damn, you've changed. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And if I was in more of like a reactive state, I'd be like, what do you mean? You know? And so that's why it's so crazy how once you change the way that you approach your life, the way that you speak to yourself even, or the way that you treat your body, the way that you process and experience your emotions, everything can change. Truly, truly. And it takes consistency. I was talking to someone who comes into the Rockwall where I work, and we were talking about, like, they were complimenting my legs, and I have never in my life gotten compliments on my legs from another feminine. And it just, like, God, it felt like, you know, when you get compliments, like sometimes it's the type of compliments where you're like, yeah, like, thank you. And then there are the times where like, wow, oh my gosh, thank you. Seriously. Like, I love that you said that, because I never thought of it. And even in astrology, Sagittarius is the energy of the legs. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things that I've been focusing on in terms of my natal chart, is my Pluto and my Chiron, which is ruled by Sagittarius, or placed in Sagittarius. And so those kinds of things, like, I love connecting it with my reality. It's that it's so naturally being like evoked and experienced, as long as I let it, first of all. And we were just talking about that, and I was complimenting them on their back muscles. Oh my God, exquisite. So fucking fine-tuned. And they were just like, yeah, it's just consistency. I was like, yeah, I totally get it. I totally fucking get it. And then when we walked away from the conversation, like, we're doing our own things, I came back to myself and I was like, wow. It's kind of one of those things where you look up like how to get like how to find or how to tone your body, and then in reality the consistent answer to that is consistency. Being disciplined, doing it when you don't want to, but knowing that you need to. Not because you like need to have this body, but because you need to do these things to achieve something that you have like set as a goal, right? And so it's interesting, because when you really do have that intentional goal that you want to build, everything comes into play. Everything comes into play. You're literally playing with the elements, and it all just makes sense and it works out. And I really do believe that that is something that I'm consistently transforming in, is addressing my foundations and making sure that the things that need to topple down are, one, something that I'm also just receptive to, like open to things just toppling down, and like not being so hung up on the way that it's perceived or the way that it looks, but still having that grounded sense of like, I know that I deserve this, I know that I desire this to an extent, but it doesn't define what this abundance mindset feels like for me. And that's something that I've been processing too, because, you know, there's this, I don't know if you know this actually, but like, there's a lot of times where people are like, think about or feel the way that you would feel when you do receive your desire. And it made me realize like, wow, like I maybe don't desire this as much as my mind thinks that I do. And it kind of made me shift my focus, and I was like, okay, so then, because like, for example, right, like some people really want to manifest a car or like a house. And then I'm like, okay, but I've already achieved that, both of them, to many different levels. And it's like, how about I have enough money to take care of my family and to let them retire? How does that make me feel? Like something like that, right? And so it made me realize like, wow, I am the source, and I can outsource it to people that matter to me. And that just shifts everything. And it doesn't always have to do with me, but in the end, like, it'll come back to me, right? Like that's why I really do believe in karma, because seriously, be careful what you wish for, because that shit is gonna come true. Genuinely, these past few fucking months, like this last month has been like literally I wish for something and it happens like either in the day or the next day. And I'm like, whoa, that's actually crazy as fuck. And it also helps me realign. So it's not that things come quote unquote easy, it comes in flow, it comes simply. And so it's not that complicated, it's not that serious, but it's also so much fun. Seriously, so good, so good. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's the video. I'm gonna go ahead and go on my TikTok and record a tarot. So if you want to join me there, it is Psyche Kai, Psyche_Kai. And if you want to commission a personal reading, PsycheKai at Gmail. But other than that, thank you so much for being here and allowing me the space to speak. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being alive, truly. And I'm sending you so much love and support on your own spiritual journey. Bye, collective.